field. And whether we have beginners in the session or those who have quite like you have been in the field for quite a while, I believe this session will be like more of an eye opener. You'll understand the various fields available. Which one do you feel like, on how like you can select the fields that are there? Because at times most of us stuck at some point. Like you start with ethical hacking and penetration testing, and you are stuck there, not realizing like there are more fields which you can explore. Our speaker for today is it's Karim. I won't. I looked at his profile and his bio, and I think I let him introduce himself. So I can see we are 19 members. I think we can start. Maybe Mr. Karim, if you can hear me, maybe you can just unmute and you can take over.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, cool. Okay, just a moment, please. So can you all see my screen, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, wonderful. Welcome, guys. As I've been introduced, my name is Karim, and I'm a cybersecurity expert here in Tanzania. I've been in the industry for quite some time, for almost like 3 years or more. And today I'm here to talk about how to get started into cybersecurity, and also to understand different careers that are there in cybersecurity. Okay. So who am I? So I am the CEO of a company called Hackett Consultancy. I'm a cybersecurity by profession. As I said before, I'm a pen tester. I'm a founder of a Hackett cybersecurity community in Tanzania. So the community is called Hackett. I'm also a CTF player. I'm a blogger where I blog about different cybersecurity topics. Author at eForensics and Pentest magazine. I hope you all know about it. And also I'm a subject matter at Swahili, whereby I explain different concepts of cybersecurity in Swahili, in DW Swahili. So that's who I am in general. So getting straight to the topic, how to get started into cybersecurity. So me being in the industry for quite some time, I've been getting this question a lot of times, and I'm sure the guys who have been in the industry for quite some time, they do also get the same question. And the question is how to get started into cybersecurity. And honestly speaking, this is one of the most complicated questions to answer, simply because, number one, there's no straightforward approach on how you could get started into cybersecurity. Number two, there's no correct way that you could say, okay, if you start here, I'll be on the right path, in getting into cybersecurity. And thirdly, there's no systematic approach, or in other words, step-to-step process on which you could follow to get into cybersecurity. So that's why this question becomes very complicated to answer in that spectrum. And the reason, one of the major reasons is because each person that you're going to meet into cybersecurity has a different story that they're going to tell you on how they get started into cybersecurity. So hence, that's why initially I say that it's kind of complicated to answer this question, but I'm going to help you or assist you on how to get started into cybersecurity. So let's look at it at an angle of what people think on how we could get started into cybersecurity. So let's assume that this is Karim. Karim goes to university, does his cybersecurity degree for 4 years. After that, he gets his degree, he graduates. After that, Karim goes and looks for cybersecurity and secures one. Then later along the line, he does some few certifications, gets certified. After that, Karim can join several cybersecurity communities in order to exchange ideas and also give back to the community. And lastly, he can start doing his research, right? So this is just the conventional way on which a lot of people think that is the way that you can get started into cybersecurity. So I have news for you. That's not the only way. The reason why I said initially that there is no perfect answer for this one is because let's look at the reality. So initially I said, okay, Karim could go to university, right? Get their degree. After that, they go and look for their job. But the other side could be the guys who are not looking into getting into university, or guys who are already into their career, let's say like system administrators, network administrator guys, etc. This is another way that they could get started into cybersecurity. So let's just call our character John Doe. So John Doe will initially start with certifications, get himself aware of different skill sets that are there outside there. And then after that, John Doe could go and do some research, like get to know other fields that are there in the industry and just find ways on which they can improve their skills. And then John Doe could also go and join cybersecurity communities as basically the guy who will do it while passing into the university, and then later on finish up and get a job into cybersecurity. But I want you guys to understand that these are not the only ways. There are guys who could, because I know guys who literally have no cybersecurity background, have no technical background, but still they get into cybersecurity through doing research, joining cybersecurity communities, getting into cybersecurity events. Like, for example, Africa Hackon is very common in Kenya, so such type of events. And then later on, they transition themselves into cybersecurity. So, truth to be told, as I said, there is no clear path into cybersecurity. Reason behind is everybody has their different story that they're going to tell you on how they got started into cybersecurity. There is no shortcuts to it, and there is no golden path on which you can say that if I use this journey, I'm going to get into my career as easily as possible. There is nothing like that. So answering your question of how do I get started, the answer is just start where you can. If it's doing certifications, if it's joining a cybersecurity community, and also just taking advantage of meeting different kind of people who are already in the industry, get their opinion, and just try to navigate your way into cybersecurity. So the next topic is about the careers in cybersecurity. So out there, a lot of people, when you talk about cybersecurity, they think that cybersecurity is more of the technical aspect, while out there in reality it's just not only technical. There is also another side which is non-technical, which brings us over here. So as I say, there are two types of categories. There's technical and non-technical. So in the technical is the careers that everybody knows. So when you talk about pen testing, vulnerability assessment, digital forensics, etc., etc. Now, when you get to the non-technical, basically here you don't need the hacking skills, right? So here we are talking about just knowing the policies that are there, international standards. There's also a role in cybersecurity cells, etc., etc. The laws, all these are non-technical areas, which if you feel that in the technical areas is not for you, these are the areas that you could venture in. Or you could even decide to be a cybersecurity writer, the way I do, you know? So it all depends with what you want, what your career aspiration is, where you want to be, etc., etc. So now we get to the technical bit, which I'm sure a lot of guys who want to hear about. So in cybersecurity, there is the penetration testing and vulnerability assessment, but also there's the digital forensics and incidence response career line. But the problem with cybersecurity, even with all these categories that I have tried to separate them, there are also sub-careers under them that a person needs to concentrate on. So as I listed in penetration testing, there is internal and external penetration testing. There is physical penetration testing, social engineering, Wi-Fi pen testing, etc., IoT. Like there are a lot of sub careers under penetration testing and vulnerability assessment. And the problem is you can't be a master of everything. So what initially people advise is just master one. Let's say, for example, if it's physical penetration testing, become very good at it. But it will be also good to just have a basic understanding of other careers into cybersecurity, so that whenever you meet somebody and talks about, okay, you know, yesterday I was doing web penetration testing, I found a cross-site scripting on the website, you wouldn't be like wondering, okay, what is this guy talking about? You know, so those are the things that are covered under penetration testing and vulnerability assessment. But these are not only the only careers that are there. There are more than that. When you go to digital forensics, so there is first responder. Basically, first responder is the person who arrives first into the crime scene. There is computer forensics, mobile forensics, network forensics, etc., etc. So all of these are areas of expertise under digital forensics, which I'm assuming after the session, you guys are going to go and do research more. Perhaps it's something for you. You were in penetration testing, but things are not working out. So you could go and try out probably in digital forensics and incident response. Probably it could be something that could work out for you. So this is how we get started into penetration testing as a career. So first of all, you need to understand the basics of Kali Linux, right? You need to know how to set up the virtual labs. You need to know the basic commands in Kali Linux itself. You need to know how to get you need to know how to get yourself around the operating system. You know, you need to know how to do the administrative work, networking, etc., etc. And once you have that grasp of Kali Linux, is when you move on to the next stage, which is penetration testing. Others call it ethical hacking. Depends what you want to call it. And those are basically the steps that you go through in order to kick yourself off into penetration testing as a career. So those are just subtopics that you're most likely going to cover, and you need to learn them and become good at what you're doing. So when you come to digital forensics and incident response, now initially I grouped them as one because they have a point where things that are common, let me put it that way, right? So when it comes to digital forensics as itself, there are two areas that you could specialize on. So number one could be acquisition, or you could focus yourself in analysis only, like basically doing the investigation itself. And then lastly, you could get and become an expert witness. Under acquisition, so those are other sub-careers under acquisitions that you could focus on. For example, let me just use mobile forensics and network forensics. So the problem is a person who knows mobile forensics, so I'm taking it from the context of the European culture. You'll find that a person who knows how to do acquisition in mobile forensics wouldn't know how to do acquisition in computer forensics, because of these are two different devices. Their inner workings are totally different. The way they store evidence, or where evidence can be found, are totally different, etc., etc. So you'll find in developed countries, most of them, they don't want to be, what's that word? Is it a master of everything? I think that's the perfect word to call it. So what they'll do is one person will just focus in one area. So let's say if me, I'll focus in computer forensics acquisition, another person will be an expert in mobile forensics acquisition, etc., etc. But when you come to Africa, then that's a different story a little bit. But I think right now everyone gets the grasp of it. Now, let me talk a little bit about expert witness. So expert witness is basically the person who goes into the court of law and presents the evidence. So this person would be the same person who has done the analysis, because he knows the ins and outs of what was done, and he needs to present that in the court of law. Or sometimes it could be a different person who would have most likely gone through the documents of the analysis and is the one who is going to present the evidence in the court of law. So that's the area of digital forensics. When you get to incident response, there is reverse engineering, malware analysis, log analysis, and reporting. So also these are different careers by themselves under incident response. So you'll find a person who is an expert in malware analysis, knows all types of malwares, how they behave, how to develop one, etc., etc. And then you'll find another guy who is an expert in reverse engineering, etc. As the list shows there, those are other careers that you guys could venture in and just have fun with it. Depending, again, you'll have to check on your passion, what you like, and if things are working for you. And basically that's the route that you're gonna pick. So now let's get to the skills. But before getting there, let me just, okay, some of you may agree, others may not agree with me, but for me, there is a myth that people say, in order for you to get into cybersecurity, you need to have, or you need to be good in programming. Well, for me, I disagree with that, simply because I'm not good in programming. I don't know how to code, though I can understand what was written in the code and just make sense out of it. So sometimes it's good to have the programming skills, but it's not a must for you to have it. So the number one skill that you need to have while getting into cybersecurity is basically learn how to build virtual labs. So the importance of virtual labs, it's going to help you understand about the different operating systems that are there. It will help you know how to use the different operating systems. It will give you the ability to do research on different areas. One of them, or the most famous research area, will be on the malware analysis aspect. So this will just give you the ability to do research on your malware without infecting your actual operating system. And also the beauty of building your own virtual machines, you can also learn how to configure web servers, etc., or just server itself. So you could just throw in, let's just say Windows Server 2013 and start playing around with it. So saying that, you need to understand how to build and play around with virtual machines because of that aspect. The next skill is you need to learn different command lines, because different operating systems use different commands in order to interact with the operating systems. For example, Linux and Windows. Checking your network configurations, I know in Linux you're going to use ifconfig, but in Windows you're going to use ipconfig. So this will just give you an opportunity to play around with different command lines and just have fun with it and find your way around into the operating system. And also you'll get to learn about different tools of that operating system and just become good at it as time goes on. The next skill that is needed is basically learn how to administer systems. So this could be either from managing personal devices like your mobile phones, the laptops, personal laptops, etc., etc. Also, let's assume that you've already configured, let's say, your Windows Server 2013 on your virtual lab. This will be a great opportunity to learn how to administer the servers itself, how to configure the servers, how to how to create users, how to delete users, or let's assume even in Apache servers, right? So this will just be another platform for you to just play around with all these servers and learn how to administer them, etc., etc. So these are just great skills that you need in order to get into cybersecurity. The next skill is you need to learn about networking. Why? Because networking is the heart of everything. Like anything that you need to do, or let's assume applications that we create, right? Or let's take another example, messaging processes. If you send a message from one point to another, all this runs under the network level. So that's why it's important to learn about networking, understand how devices do communicate. You need to understand about TCP/IP, OSI model, etc., etc. And once you're done with that, you'll be good to go. Next, you need to learn about your personal security. So I think I look at it as this to be security 101, the basics, right? So here, as we all know, things are getting interconnected from cars to refrigerators, etc., or let's say our gates. So let's just name them IoT devices. Since things are getting to that spectrum, it means that vulnerabilities and attack vectors keep on increasing, right? So since that is happening currently, the good place to start with cybersecurity will be at a personal level. So we are looking at things like your password. How strong is your password? How do you set up your passwords? Encryptions, secure communication, being up to date with security news, right? Also looking at patching systems. So in simple words, we are talking about updating your devices whenever an update is being released by each operating system vendors, etc., etc. So that basically covers your personal security. For others who are way paranoid, it will mean covering your web cameras so that just in case, contingency plan, let me call it that way. And I think just that's the whole nexus of the personal security area. Now, when we come to research, out of all skills, I feel that this is the most important skill that you need while getting into cybersecurity, because sometimes you could get into an area where you want to look at. Let's assume that you want to do malware analysis, but you don't know how to start and how to go your way around malware analysis. So here is where your research skills come in. And if you don't know what to look for or what you're targeting to learn, then it becomes a problem for you, right? Another angle that you could look at it when it comes to profiling. Profiling, I'm looking at it at the angle of profiling your target and trying to gather as much information about them. So once again, here is where your research skills come in. Here is where you make use of Google docking or Google hacking if you know about it. And also just gathering as much information as you can about your target, because as you know, as hackers spend 90% success rate becomes very low. So that's why we say that research capability is very important when getting started into cybersecurity. The last aspect of it is report writing. Well, this is the most important skill also that you need to learn. And most likely report writing, you will learn it from basically writing your reports in school, submitting your projects, etc., etc. There is, I think, the simple way to get started. So basically here we are looking at, you need to know how to structure well your report, right? You're looking at the grammar. Is the grammar correct? You're looking at proper font size. And also, while you're writing your report, you need to write it as simple as possible so that even if you give it to the CEO to read what you did into their system, the CEO can understand like, oh, okay, so Karim did this and this and this, and these are the impacts that the vulnerabilities that he found is going to be to our systems. And this is what we are going to lose as an organization, right? But if you start putting very technical things that even the technical team of that organization you're going to do pen test for doesn't understand what you're writing, or another aspect that we can look at it is, let's say there's no cohesion in your text, then it becomes problematic, right? So those are the skills that you guys need to invest in, you need to learn, and just be good at what you're doing. And the last thing that I would say in that aspect is just understand how things work. That's the most important thing that you can do at this point of view. So now we're going to talk about me at a personal level, and this is my story. So I'm going to be very honest with you about my journey in cybersecurity, how I got started, and where I am right now, and how I got to where I am, basically. Excuse me, just give me a moment. Okay, thank you. Let me proceed. So this is my personal experience. And what I did is I split them into two categories. So basically, I split them into the front end and the back end. So the front end is basically everything that everybody can see what I'm doing, right? Everything. Let me just put it as simple as possible. Let's say, for example, the articles that I've written, reviews that I've done, etc., etc. So that will cover the front end. And then now when we come to the back end, it's basically things that nobody knows about my experience and journey, and just basically the things that I go through during my journey, in short. So for Karim, I finished my high school. I went to university, and there is where I got my my degree into cybersecurity and digital forensics. So for my undergrad, I got I was honored to venture in all worlds. So cybersecurity in the aspect of penetration testing, and also we got to venture into digital forensics. And then I went for my master's degree, where I focused, I picked the course of forensics computing, that's what they call it. But we also did a little bit of penetration testing, etc., etc. That's why currently I'm in both worlds. So after that, I graduated, I came back to Tanzania, and as a normal young man will do, basically we'll start looking for work. And that's what happened. While looking for work, things never went well, but I kept on pushing. I started networking with people, going and talking to different kind of people who are already in the industry, getting their experience, etc., etc. After that, I went and ventured into certification. So basically, this was around 2020. I think that's when COVID hit, and businesses were really struggling at this period. So you'll find that most certification companies were offering certifications for free. And that's where I leveraged my time on that. And then I joined several cybersecurity communities. This was when I went to Kenya for Africa Hackon. That's when I joined their cybersecurity community to just interact more with other cybersecurity experts. And then I started doing my own personal research, learning different aspects of cybersecurity, etc., etc. Then I also started venturing into CTFs. So CTFs, for those who don't know, I don't want to assume, basically these are just cybersecurity games which helps you to improve your cybersecurity skills. The best thing that I did in my life was to get a mentor, and he helped me a lot to build me as a cybersecurity expert. And this is something that I would advise you guys to do if you don't have one. Get somebody who you feel that has already made it where you want to be, and ask the person, could you please be my mentor? And this person would mentor you and groom you and just become the best version of you. And that's what happened with me and my mentor. Then later on, I got into publications. So basically, I started writing or co-authoring into Pentest magazine, forensics, eForensics magazine, and just writing my own magazines and publishing them on my website. And this just, and it helped me a lot in terms of the aspect of report writing, because once you get into publication area, there is a standard that you need to put for yourself, right? So basically for me was, whenever somebody wants to read my articles or whenever a person wants to read my research papers, it should be in a way that this person, even if they are not that technical or they just want to grasp some few aspect of a certain topic, is hello?
Hi, you got lost for a second.
Okay, so where did I end? Sorry.
You were on a slide and then your mic cut off.
So you're not seeing my slides? Or
No,
you're seeing...
currently I'm not seeing a slide. We're not seeing.
Okay, let me just share again. Sorry, guys. So is that it? Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So from current slide, okay. Yeah, so as I said, I think I ended at publication, right? Okay, let me just proceed from there. So yeah, I got into publication, I got into blogging, and then later on, I got into, I was interviewed by DW Swahili. They liked me and they asked me to be their expert subject matter, right? So basically what that means is whenever they have any cybersecurity related topic, they come to me and try to explain it in Kiswahili in simple terms that anybody, a person who doesn't know the technical and then finally, I got into public speaking and presentation. So a good example was this year around June, I did my presentation at Isaka, Tanzania, the Tanzanian chapter, where I presented on threat hunting. So basically that was my journey in terms of the front end aspect. Now, this is the area where I'd like to say legends only. I call it legend only because this is the real deal in cybersecurity. This is the hardships that people go through that they never tell you or never expose it to you. So like, for example, you'll see somebody, a very famous, let's say Kevin Mitnick. The guy is very famous. You see that his life is all blooming, etc., but you don't know what's going on behind the doors, right? So this is my aspect of the behind the doors aspect, right? So for me, my journey was, as I said, I got my degree. I started looking for jobs, cybersecurity jobs to be specific, pen testing. But I got into the application processes as everybody will do. And then later on, I just realized that you haven't been successful. And you start getting all these rejections from different type of companies. I applied for, I think I have around 300 job applications or more, if I'm not mistaken, and they're all rejects, right? And then I started being depressed. right? Because like you're wondering, okay, I'm doing the right thing. I'm updating my CVs. You're sending your CV to professional CV writers, but still you find nothing is going right for you. Now you start getting depressed, traumatized, etc., etc. Then one day an idea got to me and I thought to myself, okay, let me just start my own company. Perhaps things are gonna be well for me on that area. So I started my company, registered it to the government, and then I started looking for clients. Now, the problem came when, so this I'm talking about it in the local aspect here in Tanzania, where clients were not really replying to my emails. I go to the companies asking them what's going on. Then you just realize that these guys don't read emails. You start printing hard copies of the tenders that you're trying to ask for, and at the end of the day, they still don't get back to you. You call them, ask them like, okay, what's going on? This is probably a service that you need, and it goes on, goes on, goes on, and you still find yourself getting back to the last point, which is stress and traumatized. You get back to that aspect. But also the worst thing is you get here where you get drained mentally and physically. Like you don't know what to do next. You're just tired, you're burnt out. That's the real cybersecurity. Like it's not that simple, guys. It's stressful, but guys are just being strong and keep on pushing forward in order to realize their dreams and not giving up. So at this point, let me just also show you my one of my recent job application that I was being declined. So I just removed the company name because I'm not here to shame companies per se, but yeah, these are the things that you guys don't see behind the scene, such type of rejections, right? And the problem of this is at times it could really get to you and you'll just be mentally blocked. You don't know what to do. So these are my folders of my journey. So all these are folders of the job application that I've done and that have been declined. The one that has the most declined job application is the folder in 2019. And that's because that was a point of my life whereby I was really, really applying for jobs everywhere and anywhere. So that's why at that point, I have a lot of declined job applications. And then later on in 2020, 2021, there is not that much because I was running my own organization, etc., etc. So at this point, you'll be asking me like, okay, how do I put my A game on? So number one is I just take a day off. You need to relax, you need to refresh and just stop thinking about tech. Once in a while, it's not bad, you know? Number two, positive affirmation. So basically here, believing in yourself, saying, I can do it, I can make it. I can push through whatever obstacle I'm facing. That's what I do at a personal level. Number three, just grabbing each opportunity that presents itself. You don't know where that opportunity may lead you, right? Number four, you need to stay focused on your goals, because if you don't have any goals set up for yourself, then once you face that first obstacle in your career, then that's it. You'll quit from there. But if you have a goal that you've set for yourself, then definitely you'll keep on pushing and you'll focus on the end result. Like, okay, yeah, I'm having this difficulty, but you never know at the end of the day where I'm going to get. And then, okay, this may sound a little bit cocky, but you just try your level best to stay positive and just as I said, have positive affirmation on yourself and just think positive, etc. in that area. The most underrated thing when it comes to cybersecurity is celebrating small wins. This is very important, because if you don't appreciate the small things that you get, then you'll never appreciate the big ones. Hence, where we go to the next point is celebrate your big wins. And the most important out of them all is, whenever you're faced with a bottleneck, don't feel shy to ask for help. I remember one of my friends say that there's never a stupid question, but there's always a stupid answer. So don't feel bad asking something that you don't know. If you need help, ask people, and definitely people are going to help you. Like, one of the blessings that I say that I do have is joining the cybersecurity community, because people share information a lot. People are very caring. It's like one huge family compared to other careers. So we come to advice. My advice number one will be, get yourself a mentor. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry about that. So number one, get yourself a mentor. So a mentor is basically going to help you navigate through your obstacles, through challenges that you're going to face, and also he's going to help you reduce the number of time that you're going to spend into solving problems that he himself had passed through during his time. And also he's going to teach you skills that you never knew that are there. For example, for me currently, I remember, I think it was on 2019, I made a video just using PowerPoint. As we all know, sometimes people are broke. You don't have money to pay for Adobe Photoshop, etc. So I just used PowerPoint, and that was because my mentor taught me that, right? Number two, Google is your friend. This covers the aspect of research. If you don't know anything, just get to Google. Google has all the answers, and things are going to be smooth for you. Number three, no one is going to spoon feed you. People are going to get you started, like show you your way around into cybersecurity. Like, let's say, for example, if you're a total beginner, you don't know anything about cybersecurity, people will tell you, okay, so start doing CTFs, start doing research, right? Listen to YouTube videos, watch, let's say, Hackersploit, etc., etc. People are just going to show you around. But once you've started getting the understanding things and how they work, nobody is going to spoon feed you from there. You have to hustle yourself, try and learn on your own, etc., etc. So you always have to be aggressive and on point in learning at a personal level. This is the one that I really like. Always document. For me personally, I always document because I forget a lot. And the problem of technology, no, let me say IT is, once you learn something today, and let's say you don't learn it for a whole month or 3 months down the line, you'll totally forget how you did it. Now, if you had documented it, like I started from point A to point B up to Z, then it will be easy for you to follow up and remember what you did and just go on with the flow. That's why I always like to document everything that I do. I have a friend of mine who, his name is Shalom. I really like this guy because he once told me, if there is no opportunity, try and create one of your own, right? For example, let me take it in the aspect of Tanzania. Tanzania, cybersecurity is still a growing. Now, finding jobs into cybersecurity is very, very complicated. Now, if you're in that situation, what do you do? That's why he told me, if there is no opportunity, create your own. So I had to find ways on which I could still continue practicing cybersecurity and still improve on myself while in Tanzania and helping different organizations understand the importance of just doing cybersecurity matters in general. The next point is, don't get into cybersecurity just because of money. Because from the back-end experience that I had shared with you, if your motivation is money, at the end of the day, you'll just end up giving up. So get into cybersecurity because you love to do it and it's what you want to do it. Next thing, don't give up. Once again, the back-end scenario. If you give up in cybersecurity, then basically that translates that you weren't even supposed to be here, right? So you are not supposed to give up, just keep on pushing, and eventually you are going to pass, because everybody passed that hardship phase. It's normal. Next thing, network. So here, what I can tell you guys is when we come to, okay, I don't know how to phrase it so it doesn't come out badly, but let me just say, in order for you to get opportunities, it's about who you know, but not what you know. So basically what I mean is a person would, or let me put it this way, an organization would offer you a job in a very swift manner if they know you and they know your capabilities, right? And that only happens if you network with these guys in these organizations. You could attend, let's say, their webinars, you could attend their workshops, get to know these guys, etc., etc. That's how you network. Networking events, if they're having a party, go there, see what people are doing, etc., etc. I already explained this, understand how things work, very important. I also mentioned this, don't hesitate asking questions. There's no stupid question, there's always a stupid answer. So don't hesitate asking questions. There's no stupid questions. But again, join communities, because by joining communities, you get to learn from different people. At the same time, you get resources that you wouldn't have been able to get at an individual level. Research and research more. Basically, that means you need to learn how to Google. If you don't understand a topic, research about it if you're interested in it anyway, etc., etc. That covers research and research. Be aggressive and eager. So eager to learn. Be aggressive to get into the industry, because that's the most difficult thing to do. Do personal projects, they're very important. Online courses, online platforms, Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, VulnHub, etc., etc. All these are going to help you build your foundation into cybersecurity. And that covers my presentation. I'd like to know your thoughts, questions, etc. And I hope you guys enjoyed the presentations. Thank you. Okay. I think for this one, just unmute your mic and ask your question and move forward and try to answer the best of my knowledge. If there's somebody also who can answer that question, also feel free to chip in your point of views, your ideas, feel free.
Is there anyone who'd like to speak? Just unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, so long. I see something in the chat that asks,
Okay.
I don't know if you had already answered it, but it asks, how do you protect a novice user or cybersecurity enthusiast from dangerously exposing their crucial data or getting hacked?
Okay, that's a good question. From dangerously exposed. Okay, yeah. Crucial data. So basically here, we are looking at it at the aspect of just be careful at what you post. For example, today I came through, let me just call it a meme, where this guy was showing off his new credit card, and he took a picture at the front and at the back. and posted it on the internet. And he was like, hey guys, look at my new ATM card, blah, 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 and showing off. So it's just being careful at what you post. And also just, you could also check in the aspect of encryption, making use of those types of technologies, etc., etc. Any other question? Considering most of the tools being used like Kali okay, I'm not understanding this. Is it a question or?
Thank you for the presentation.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
So how did you approach your mentor?
Okay. That's a good question. Okay, so funny story was I fell in love with let me say penetration testing because of this friend of mine called Victor, right? He was the one who started showing me around cybersecurity. And then later on during our conversation, he just once said like, okay, Karim, you know, there's somebody called so-and-so. He's my boss here at, okay, let me just not mention the organization. He's my boss at organization XYZ. You think I'm good at what I'm doing? You haven't seen his level of skills, right? And I was like, okay, so if he's better than you, then okay, can you please introduce him to me and just tell him that I want to be his mentee? And he did that, and yeah, that's how I got my mentor. But what I would say is you need to approach people in a friendly manner, right? So let's say, for example, if I'm your choice, for example, you just inbox me on if it's LinkedIn, whatever the case, and be like, oh, hi, Karim, hope you're doing well. So my name is so-and-so and so. This is what I've done, blah, 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 blah. I want to get into cybersecurity, and I've seen you venture into cybersecurity for quite some time, and I'd like for you to be my mentor. Are you up for it? You know? And so once you've posed that question, it depends with the type of person you're interacting with. There are guys who will tell you, okay, what's your level of expertise? Are you a beginner or are you a script kiddie, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And then we'll give you some learning materials to go and read. So basically what he's doing, that's just a test for you. He wants you to go and read, come back to him, and then tell him what you've learned along the way with the materials that he's given you, and win his trust that way. For me, I remember when I first started interacting with my mentor, he directly gave me a machine to hack. And it was one complicated machine, but I just had to do it, you know? And at the end of the day, I told him, okay, this is what I did, and this is where I got, and I can't proceed further because I'm still new into cybersecurity. And that it just demonstrates my willingness to learn. And that's what a lot of people are looking for. Nobody wants you to waste their time, you know? So whenever you approach somebody, if he gives you a reading material to go and read, or if he gives you a task to go and do, just go and do it and return to him or her with some sort of feedbacks. But yeah, it's good to be straightforward. And then after that, try your level best to develop a connection with your mentor. Because right now, me and my mentor, here we are, I'd say it's me and my elder brother. That's how deep our connection is. So I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, you have. Thank you so much. It was a nice answer.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, thanks.
Anybody else?
Hello? Do you hear me?
Yeah, definitely, Isaac.
Yeah, Karim, can I know between parrot and Parrot and Kali, which one is good for beginner and why?
Well, to be honest, they're all good. It all depends with somebody's passion. For example, I'll tell you, Kali is good because I've tried out Parrot. It's because of my own personal opinion. So there's no correct answer to that, which one is best. Somebody could come out of nowhere and tell you ARC is the best hacking OS to that. But to answer your question, I'll say any shall do, any of the two. It's just going to get you started because most of the commands are the same. Most of the tools that you're going to use are the same. So there are just slightly few differences between the two OSs. And it doesn't matter what you use. You're still, because at the end of the day, what you want is the result. And with both two OSs, you're going to get the result. So N is going to go.
Okay. And on top of that,
Yeah.
which platform is good for the beginner? Like Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, or whatever. Which one is good for the beginner to start with?
Okay. People say Try Hack Me is the best. And yeah, kinda, but it's not my favorite. For me personally, I started with VulnHub. Let me just put it on the chat here so you guys can see it. Vulnhub.com, I think that's, yeah. It's called VulnHub. That's where I started off. Then later on, I think once I was doing the transition from beginner to intermediate is when I got into Hack the Box, etc., etc. But Hack the Box is very complicated for a complete beginner. So I guess Try Hack Me is the best.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Eli. Ellie.
Hi.
Sorry. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear you.
First of all, I'm happy to meet you. Yeah. To meet you here apart from Cyber Talents Scholarship. So when we were being introduced, we were told to install our Kali Linux on a virtual machine.
Yeah.
Should it be a case for, should it be a general case or for learning purposes only?
Yes, definitely. Because like the purpose of virtual machine, it basically helps you not to interfere with your main operating system. And the beauty of having a virtual machine is you can install as much operating systems as you want and play around with them. And it doesn't matter if you infect them with viruses or break them, it still won't affect your main operating system. So I'll say yes. And others would suggest Docker. So it depends who you're talking to. But yeah, definitely for everything will be the best way to go.
So when cybersecurity, should I use Kali as my host OS or continue using virtual machine?
Once again, it depends with your preferences, and also it depends with the resource that you have. So for me personally, I use Windows for my daily activities, but I go to Kali on the virtual machine when I want to do either if it's CTF or I have a pen test that I want to do, is when I shift to Kali. So it depends and how competent you are using Kali.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any other question?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Karim. This is Kevin.
Oh, hi, Kevin. So,
I have like two questions. One is a follow-up from the previous guy was just asked about putting a Kali and on a virtual box. So what about dual booting? Because I understand when you're going to do most masters, most of the universities are using Windows. Maybe unless your person understands Kali, maybe that will be come in hand for you. And the other thing, I think you'll have some difficulties if you're not a fast learner or you're not that good with Kali, in terms of maybe writing documents, saving documents, and doing some other report writing. So
Yeah.
I want you to tell us your experience on in terms of making these certain types of reports. In
Oh, okay.
terms of okay, on that was just a follow-up question, and then the
Yeah.
second question I wanted to ask is we understand like 60% of cyber acts or kind of cyber criminal activities happen mostly like 60% are inside the jobs, and there is no 2-3 days goes 62. It's just a basic kind of report I'm basing on. So you hear
Okay.
every time China's hacked some schools in USA. You got the next time Russia has hacked some schools in USA. US has hacked this. Does that mean like we have some inside Russian guys in those kind of institutions, or what basically happens in a general way?
Okay. So one.
Okay.
Wait, before we proceed,
Okay.
let me start answering one question and another because I might forget the second question that you asked. So let me just handle the first one and then you'll ask again your second one. Sorry for disturbing you.
Good. That's okay.
Okay. So you asked the first one, I think it was about dual booting, right?
Yeah. Would you prefer that dual booting or just like we use a virtual box?
Well, for me personally, I'll prefer a virtual box rather than dual booting because dual booting, you're basically limiting your resources. Because let's assume if you're having 1 TB of hard drive, and then you partition it in order to accommodate the other OS. Basically, what you're doing is you're reducing the amount of resources that you have, right? So for me, basically, I don't like that, and also the simplicity of using a virtual lab makes me go more for using a virtual lab rather than dual booting your hard drive and doing all the partitions and the hassles, and you don't know what's going to happen. You could break it, a lot of things could happen with tech. So for me, if you ask my advice, I'll say you're way better off to install your VM and start playing around with whatever ISO you want to play around with.
Okay.
You also asked something about my report writings, right?
Yeah. Basically, that just because what if you're not doing your masters locally and you have to go to, you're doing something, okay, you're doing it now in a foreign country where they're using the normal Windows, like the operating system, and then you have to do maybe report writing, you have to do some research on this and this. So how did you get it? How do you get it? How do you normalize the situation whereby people are using Windows and they're writing faster than you maybe? Or for a person who is not like skilled in Kali Linux, or should you just like use Windows because they're using Windows? And how do you even try those? How do you even try those? You do those vulnerability testing using Windows?
Okay, so for that one, currently Windows, they're having, you can install Kali on Windows, right? I don't know if you know that. So basically that's how you're going to use your Windows machine for hacking if you don't want to use your VM. So you could install Kali on Windows. Just Google that one, how to install Kali on Windows. You'll get all the processes, and then also you start. Now the disadvantage of that one is you'll have to install one tool after another. Okay. That's the disadvantage of it. Oh. But I'm aware for Kali they have what is it called? Should I say like Word document, the software like Microsoft Word, where you can do all your documentation from there. But for me, at a personal experience, I solely use Windows for my OS and all other activities. So basically, I'll make use of Microsoft Word to do my documentation, etc., etc.
Okay.
Yeah. So we come again to your last question. It was about Russia, something.
I was just like, we're having like cyber wars in different countries, and then we understand that from statistics.
Okay. So Kevin, somebody said you can install LibreOffice. Yeah. So it's basically like Microsoft Word. Mm-hmm. But this one is mostly based for Linux operating systems. Like, okay, yeah. So let's get to your question, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, get to your question about
Oh,
Russians.
sorry. I was just asking from statistics that we understand like most of SEM hacks happen from an internal perspective. So and on everyday news we hear Russia has hacked China has hacked US and that kind of stuff. So sometimes I just sit down and ask my question, does it mean like we have some Russians working the US department, or what is this story about? I want to just understand the whole perspective on that.
Okay, so there's no perfect answer for that one, but this is how I'll look at it. So number one, it doesn't mean like there is insiders only. Attacks can also happen from externally, right? And basically how most people get hacked, because hackers have two methods, right? Well, basically we call it threat modeling. A lot of hackers do that, either if it's an ethical hacker or an unethical hacker. So we find the shortest route into a system. Now, let's say you tried, let me call it the conventional way of hacking, trying to hack a system, and you found yourself in a situation where the system is very well protected. It doesn't have any vulnerabilities, which is impossible, but yeah, let's assume that. And you can't find your way in using the conventional way of hacking, right? Yeah. So most hackers will diverge and go to perform social engineering and phishing. So you'll find yourself a lot of hacks that do happen. Like for example, this period of COVID, a lot of hacks happened because of phishing. Hackers took advantage of that because they knew people were scared of COVID, so they upped their game in a way that whenever they see a message, you'll think that it's coming from NHS, so National Hospital, something in the UK. So something like that. Now, if you don't know how to detect a phishing email, you end up clicking on the suspicious link and downloading viruses, and you're done. So just to answer your question, so just to answer your question, there is no one specific way on which a system could be hacked. There is a lot of ways which people will just get hacked. So it depends.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mchata. I've enjoyed your presentation. We hope to have you next time. I think we should just like petition She Hacks Kenya to host you again.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
Hello.
Hello. Could you please reduce your voice, background music? Sorry, I don't know.
Okay. So I would like to know, now you mentioned about certifications.
Yeah, definitely.
And somebody was asking if they really helped you in securing a job. And I would also like to know what are the certifications that you recommend? Thank you.
Okay, so this is a good question. So in terms of certifications, if a job, not really, but helping me knowledge-wise, yes. So it depends what angle you're looking at it. Because at the end of the day, if right now, currently, when I send my job application and apply at different organizations, what I get is I'm overqualified. Now, I don't know if they're scared of my master's or just generally my whole CV is scaring them. I don't know, but that's the most common answer that I get from organizations, that I'm overqualified. But for a person who is straight from uni, certifications definitely is going to help you get land yourself a job. So I will definitely vouch for that. If you guys are thinking of doing certifications, well, yeah, go for it. Type of certification. So, okay, how should I break it down? So we discussed different cybersecurity careers, and different cybersecurity careers have their own certification. So let's say if you want to be a pen tester, there is a lot of certifications that are associated with pen testing. So there is no need for you, you want to focus into penetration testing to go and do a certification related to digital forensics. It doesn't make sense. So basically, number one, you should know what you want career-wise. And then number two, go and do the related certifications to that. So for example, what is it called? In pen testing, there is great certifications from offensive security. Just Google offensive security. There's a lot of certifications that you could do from them. One is, I think it's called I forgot the name, CPT, I think. If somebody remembers the name, please just put it on the chat. It has slipped from my, OSCP. Yeah, so you could do that one. And definitely you're going to find a list of certifications from offensive security. So just Google that one, you get a lot of certifications related to different things. For example, you could find others relating to Wi-Fi hacking, others relating to penetration testing. So just have a reader from there and then pick the one that you want, depending on your career line that you want to focus on. Another one is EC Council, so basically CEH. A lot of organizations like CEH, though currently a lot of cybersecurity experts don't like it, and EC councils are having issues of reputation, so their reputation is going down the drain. But the problem is bypassing the HR, So CEH will be good on your arsenal. Also, if you want to base on digital forensics, there is what is called computer hacking forensics investigator, CHFI. Yeah, it's called CHFI from EC Council. Now that one is solely based for guys who wants to venture in digital forensics. You could do that one. Digital forensics guys, you could also go and check out what is called basis technology. They have certifications relating to autopsy and just being your best in those areas. Also just check your chats. A lot of people are putting great certifications, OSCP, OSCE, ECPT. There's a lot of certifications out there that you could venture on. I hope I've answered your questions. Yeah, anybody else? Any other question?
I think we should be okay now. I believe if you have something more, you can reach out to Karim on WhatsApp, Twitter, Instagram. I don't know whether you are still on Facebook.
Oh, no.
But yes.
Who uses Facebook?
LinkedIn mostly is the key social media platform to reach out to Karim.
Yeah, let me just put handles.
Excuse me, before we end, I have a question.
Yeah.
So as you were starting out, you mentioned that you joined several communities to help you. Yeah. So which social media platforms helped you gain those communities? Is it still LinkedIn or there are others?
For me, they're just the same. There's LinkedIn. Most likely, I use WhatsApp. There's a lot of cybersecurity communities there. Discord. There's a lot of cybersecurity communities you could join. What else? Telegram. A lot of cybersecurity communities there. So it just depends with you. But I'm everywhere. But the one that I'm mostly active, it's WhatsApp or LinkedIn. And I've shared my LinkedIn handles. Let me just share for Twitter. Yeah, and somebody, I think it was Nancy, she mentioned CompTIA. Yeah, I remember that, like currently it's the best certifications that you can do from CompTIA. It's called CompTIA Security Plus, if I'm not mistaken. You could also look at that one. Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. I think I've
excuse me, Karen, did you post your handles in the chat?
Oh, I made a mistake. I DM'd somebody.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just share. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, if you have any questions, just ask while we're winding up. Anything. It doesn't have supposed to be from today's session. I'll try my level best to answer where I can.
Thank you for a great session. I'm glad that everyone was so engaged, especially in asking questions. That was amazing. I'd like to wish everyone a good night, and you for guesting. Thank you so much. We really appreciate this session has been a success. So if you don't have anything more to say, I'd love to close the meeting.
Maybe add one last thing, Maria.
That's okay.
I'd like to acknowledge a few of our key mentors as SheHacks. One of them is Jackie Ayegba. I hope I spelled that name well. And then we also have Michael Kanyete, who's really been training us on cryptography. And the last person is Lawrence Muchilo. I think he's left, but he's the guy from SilentSec. So I hope that everyone keeps learning from these sessions and keep up the good work, especially in showing up for these meetings. Yeah, we really appreciate because it really gives us a little bit of trajectory in the different progresses that each of our community members as SheHacks are registering. So thank you so much, everyone, for showing up for the session today. I wish you a lovely night and looking forward to seeing you on Thursday. We still have a session for Thursday.
Yeah, and thank you for having me, definitely. And just last piece of advice, guys, never give up in cybersecurity. I know at times things are definitely gonna get tough, especially in the technical aspect. But never give up. Just get yourself involved with guys who are in the industry. Learn from them, grasp few concepts from them, or just general ideas in general about life, how they got into cybersecurity. As I said, a lot of people have different ways on how they got into cybersecurity. Others are very interesting. Like one, I know a lady who was a librarian, but right now she's a cybersecurity expert. So yeah, just be that person who likes to interact with people and learn from these guys, learn from their mistakes, etc., etc. So yeah, thank you for everything, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Sorry, bro. I
Yeah,
have DM you a private chat.
Sorry, come again?
I have DM you a private chat.
Oh, he said he'll DM me a private chat. I don't know who that was.
Oh, okay. It's Tembezi. Yeah.
Yes. Me.
Tembezi.
Yeah, no problem. Just feel free. I'm always open to share what I have. Whoever wants to DM me, LinkedIn, whatever the case, I'll always help, always answer your messages on time. Yeah, because I'm a very social person, so feel free to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. Anybody else? Of course, I think we are winding up right now. Yeah, I think you're done here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Karim. It's been an honor having you for our session today.
No, I should say thank you.
You're welcome then. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, people.